Before I start this, I do want to show my stats over the seasons. You're not going to suddenly get 10 average hero kills your first season, but you'll definitely see yourself improve over time, especially with this guide. Just a precaution that this is going to be a hero killing focused guide, as I think that's the main purpose of a dual blade. Season 3 was my first season, I was just getting used to dual blade. Season 4, you can see my hero average went up a little. Season 5, my average went up again. Season 6, I capped at 11 average kills. Pretty much the same for Season 7. The actual guide starts here. I put timestamps on the video so you guys can skip to whatever part you want to watch. For stats, you for sure want full strength. No agility for sure. It was definitely viable before with new people, but with slashing penetration ruins, it's not necessary. Agility at this point is obsolete. So the trick is to get at least 1700 slashing pen with your weapon rolls or your ruins, then you go full slashing damage. Just gonna skip right to the point. You want to be a hero killer, you run the legendary rune, the 5% damage increase on the chest, and the purple rune on the helmet. You mix and match everything else depending on your weapon rolls until you get that 1700 slashing pen. Then you just go full damage. You're gonna need a double slashing blade at some point. The color doesn't matter too much. Mediocre ones are pretty common in the market, and you can definitely get similar average kills as me with those. I am asked about this a lot, so I might as well address it. Unless you meet these prerequisites, don't worry about crit. It's not a super big deal, so it should be your last priority. Going for a God Roll Blade is a better commitment. I would rather have the few thousand extra health and extra raw damage than a little more crit chance. I'm gonna move on to settings now. Pretty simple, just make sure assisted aiming for heroes is on and assisted aiming for unit is off. Uncheck the kill cam option so your camera doesn't zoom in when you ult. This one's personal preference, but I like to disable particles. For me, it just lets me see and focus on heroes better in chaotic moments. For skills, use Butterfly, the 2 stealths, and the grab ult. No, don't use Bow Shuriken or Skylark. It's not personal preference. Sure, you can do well with them, but you won't do best with them. Since we are getting into the core of the guide, I do want you guys to know that this skill is called Ambush. Dual Blade is a combo class. There are countless variations of combos you can use for specific scenarios, each one with their own purpose. You shouldn't memorize these combos and instead come up with it on the fly with enough practice. It's up to your muscle memory at the end of the day. So when people ask me these questions, they're pretty hard to answer because there's more than one answer. The answer depends on the armor type of the enemy target, how many enemy heroes are around you, and the class of the enemy heroes around you, and how many enemy units are around you. I'll start off with combo number 1, probably the most versatile combo in this list. It's easily my most used combo because it keeps Alchemical off cooldown so I can escape with it later. It also allows you to use Alchemical offensively if necessary on someone else that's low nearby. You'll end up using it on nearly all types of enemy armor in class. It all just depends on their starting HP. Combo number 2 is probably the rarest combo you'll use, but not a lot of dual blades know about it, and it's definitely handy in some situations. It's really just for targets that can slow you down if you don't one combo them. High threat targets too, like dual blades and poleaxes that will ult you if they get up. But it's mainly if you don't want to deal with a healing longsword or a shortsword going ironsides right after they get up. It's basically ensuring that your combo is going to finish them off. Combo number 3 is the relax combo. It's when it's just you and your target, no other enemy heroes or units. The target is a low threat target like a Nodachi or Glaive. I'm saying low threat because you can easily avoid their ults since you most likely have Alchemical off cooldown. Also, I have to mention, don't cancel your ult if it's gonna kill someone without needing to cancel it. Combo number 4 is the rolling combo. It doesn't use any ambushes, either due to all your skills being on cooldown, or you don't want to use any cooldowns. But on the other hand, you still want to kill someone faster than simply letting your ult not cancel. That's where this combo comes in. So in short, the best combo is one that meets all three of these criteria. It kills the target, uses the least amount of cooldowns, and the least amount of time, assuming there's other enemies around you. Even though we've gone over combos, the most important part is knowing the mechanics of the combo, especially the ult cancel and going behind the target. Some of you, I'm not going to name names, do some sort of mathematical equation after canceling your ult. You should already be holding the walk forward key before canceling your ult. Just go straight 180 degrees behind the target. Don't look at their feet or back and confuse yourself. A lot of people think my clips are sped up, but that should be the actual speed you use your skills at. The biggest thing you should be aware of is damage split. If your attack hits more than one target, the damage will split. It's going to keep on splitting the more targets there are. That is why you never want to try to kill someone surrounded by their units or other heroes. Even cannons and ladders can cause damage split. A good way to counter this is to just wait for your target to come out of their units without realizing. Stay in your stealth and engage on your terms. The biggest thing I try to convince all dual blades to master is the backflip alchemical vapors. It is easily one of the most useful tricks to know as a dual blade. It's going to take some time, but trust me, you won't regret it. A bit on the easier side, but you can also use your target's body position to do the flip as well. Another trick you should know is timing your stealth to avoid detection from units. Notice how I don't use my stealth immediately, but instead when the Pavis put their arms up to shoot. Now they're forced to put their arms back down and it gives me more time to kill the target. You should only use your kick to stun horses. Just make sure you have alchemical off cooldown if your enemy uses their horse skill to jump down and attack you. The only other time I use my kick is in situations where the enemy is staring at my face, and I don't have any other reasonable way to ambush their back. For damage purposes, it is far more deadlier to ambush the enemy's back instead of trying to kick them. Regardless of ambush, you should always be trying to hit the enemy's back. This actually aligns with flicks and aim assist. Flicks are much easier with aim assist on, and you can do some amazing things with it. A good thing to know too is that butterfly doesn't stop your stamina regen. If you're ever in a long fight, you can try to trade the enemy's stamina with yours, but stay on the offensive by using butterfly when your stamina gets low. You should definitely have some sort of target priority list. Luckily I've made one for you. I'll quiz you guys on it too. Notice how I take out the lowest HP target and then shift my entire focus on the dual blade. The dual blade is the only one in this fight who can cause my death by ulting me. It's best to assume his ult isn't on cooldown because he's full health and most likely a fresh spawn. Just make it a habit to finish off the highest threat target first. Let's say you're in a situation where both enemies are low health and you have to pick between one of them. A lot of you would finish off the shortbow first, then just get ulted by the dual blade and die. That's why you need to ult and kill the dual blade first, because there's nothing the shortbow can do to save him. After that, you can chase the shortbow freely. This priority can be broken though if you know the cooldown of your enemy's ult. If you've already seen the dual blade ult zone before, you can kill the shortbow first for a more guaranteed kill. Your playstyle for a game mostly depends on the class composition of the enemy. If they have a low amount of choke classes, you can play more offensively and do riskier things. If they have something like 6 choke ults, you're going to have to play more passively and get kills off people that go in instead of going in yourself. One thing you should be aware of is that Poleaxe ult favors the Poleaxe's desync because it teleports you to the location you were on their screen. Dual Blade ult doesn't work like that and actually teleports you to where the target was on their screen. It's the reason I consider Dual Blade to have the worst choke ult. It's very exploitable by high level players, but it doesn't apply to Poleaxes or Mauls since their ults don't have this counter. So in general, I would avoid trying to 1v1 Poleaxes in Siege, as it is a waste of time and cooldowns. With proper movement, you can avoid CCs most of the time. Practice shift jumping, which is different from regular jumping and uses stamina. Don't rely on just rolling. Learn the parkour spots on every map as well. It will throw off even the best players. You can also glide down ladders and kill people if you see they're isolated and without any units. I almost forgot to mention how important your horse is in Siege. It's the best gap closer and escape we have. Try to keep track of the 20-second cooldown in your head so you can use it often. It makes the 1v1s a lot easier if you have that extra one ambush. I do have a simple do not list for you guys. Things aren't always this black and white, but following these rules will save you from a lot of pointless deaths. From this point on, I'm going to be talking about 1v1 matchups against each class. Mauls are pretty simple to fight. You just kite them till they use Bonebreaker, or you can just kick their Bonebreaker if you're feeling ballsy. The only Mauls you really got to worry about are the toughness ones. Full strength ones die pretty fast. Longswords are kind of a pain in the ass because they take forever to kill. A good longsword should be able to beat you if they survive your initial ult combo and get their heal off. Luckily, there's a severe lack of them. Most longswords you'll see in Siege don't have much dueling experience. Just try to kite them around at a small distance to avoid their shield attacks. When you're both spinning like this, it's pretty easy to get a butterfly on their back and chunk their health. All you have to do to win against the Glaive is dodge their ult or alchemical out of it. They don't have enough CC to win a 1v1 duel against you without their ult. You shouldn't be having much problems with them. If they miss their ult and stun on you, you can go on the pure offensive without any risk. Ironically, 1v1 against a dual blade requires the most skill. When both of you ult each other at the same time, the only way to win is to spam butterfly right after. Using any other skill is a death sentence if the other dual blade uses butterfly and you don't. It essentially gives you control of the fight. The only way you can get good against other dual blades is just dueling without your ult. Experience is the best teacher. A tip I can give you that's not shown in these clips is that if you're both invisible at the same time, whoever comes out of stealth first using ambush is at a disadvantage. Their back is exposed and the likelihood that they actually hit you while you're stealth is pretty low. It is an entirely reactive fight. You're putting yourself at a big disadvantage if you're too offensive and greedy. Spears are scary on horses. Only kick their horse and attack if you have alchemical off cooldown. Use alchemical as soon as you see their jump off animation so you don't get CC'd. If you ever miss your kick on their horse, I would advise you to just run away. Off their horse, they're really easy to fight. Just sidestep their ult and you should win the majority of the time. Nodachi is probably the easiest 1v1 class for us. Either kick them out of their ult or alchemical out of it. Outside of that, just run around them in circles and get back attacks off them. Short swords are the bane of our existence. Every skill they have can interrupt our ult and cut us in some sort of way. It's definitely possible to kill them if you get the jump on them, but I would avoid 1v1ing full toughness ones in Siege. The only way to win that fight is to do a lot of kiting, but it's one of those duels that will last over a minute, which is just a waste of time in Siege. This is my preferred method to killing short swords. I don't have any tips to fight a Poleaxe with the current ruin system. Any Poleaxe with half a burn will win the majority of the time. Even if they miss their ult, they'll out heal your DPS with their heal skill. You're gonna have to use your units to kill them. Your best bet is to just avoid them or ignore them if they have their ult on cooldown. A good musket is a direct counter to a dual blade. They have the best DPS in the game, even higher than us, and the only time you can really ult them is if you're hugging their face, and even that is risky. Every skill they have can interrupt our ult, and then we're just sitting ducks. Your best bet is to just catch them off guard if you have a lot of stacks and one combo them that way. If they're aware of you, I wouldn't really challenge them. Shortbows and Longbows are known for their iframes and rolling out of our ults. Both their dodge skill and their normal roll have iframes that can get out of our ult. Even if you see a damage number, they can still iframe it and heal it back up because this game is amazing. Always try to bait out their dodge skill by scaring them and then ult them. If you catch them off guard, your ult should be the first skill you use. Besides all this, they're going to be your most killed class in sieges because they're really soft and their zoomed in field of view makes it hard to notice you. For units, I'm obviously going to recommend Jabs. I have an entire 10-minute montage showing why Jabs are amazing for Dual Blade. Every disadvantage that Dual Blade has is made up for with Jabs. You can go in the riskiest situations and get a kill. It's pretty common to get double kills too. Those high level players that counter Dual Blade by just getting on their horse, yeah, they get fucked too. You know it's good when you're on the top of the unit versus hero rankings as a Dual Blade. Even in Territory War, it's the best unit for Dual Blade. Most of my high kill Territory Wars start off with a good jab run. For melee units, I would recommend stuff like Azas and Condos. Something with a lot of burst so you can kill the people you ult instantly. You basically trap the enemy inside using yourself as bait. I did leave the most important thing for last, which are chat commands. Taunting your enemy can instill fear in them, causing them to panic and kill themselves. Using I will infiltrate them after each kill is known to give you a 50% damage boost for 69 seconds. If you made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. You guys are the main reason I do this for.